there's worries about protecting research participants. There's worries about other kinds of sensitive data. We've seen articles talking about lizard populations and reptile trade and endangered species locations being shared in journal articles, and then poachers going to those locations and capturing those animals and selling them in the black market. There's a lot of concerns and a lot of rightful concerns about data sharing. I think data sharing can be difficult to really bring yourself to embrace, and that's okay. That's fine.
Research data management in no way means that you are obliged to share your data. Because RDM came out of conversations around open data and transparency, it can often feel like that's what the endpoint that everyone is pushing you to. You are supposed to put your data in a repository. That doesn't fit for every kind of data. You may not own it. It may be too sensitive. It may be people's stories that there's no right to be able to use in multiple contexts.
I would say be mindful of who you're going to share it with, right? Because again, once that is shared, you have no control over how it will be utilized, who will utilize it, how it will be analyzed, if it will be sanitized from everything that you thought it was important for people to know.
But there are benefits to it as well. Sharing your data gives you another object that you've created that someone can find out there. If someone comes across a data set that you've published and they see it, they want to use it, they're more likely to contact you and kind of build this kind of collaboration. And that can lead to new opportunities for you as a researcher to work with people that you might never have imagined meeting. But data sharing also, I think at its core, sharing data is something that if you're a scientist, you should recognize that this is kind of how science should be done, right? Science is about building on people's research, and it's about doing things in a way that's reproducible and verifiable. And data sharing means that you're giving people the opportunity to check what you've done, to check your findings, to validate your research, to reproduce your research. These things are core to having faith and trusting in scientific results.
The question in science is around replication, right? And economics as well, and those things as well. It's about running quantitative analyses and then being like, hey, let's run it again and see if we get the same numbers or if there's an error in the code. But when you're talking about sharing qualitative data, what we're talking about is potentially reducing impact on communities, because we often see communities that are really over-researched, or the same people or different people from different institutions are coming to the same group of people again and again and again to get essentially the same data set. So there is potential to potentially share qualitative data in a productive way.
So one thing that we always do as well is send people the transcript of their interviews, and then they can change it. And it's also a really beautiful way for people to add something that they maybe forgot or think about what they were talking about.
What we really urge is that you have the conversations about sharing and the exploration of these things with partners, because often some of the answers can be surprising. For instance, we see a lot of people that go through engaged research processes or arts-based processes that have found a deep power in what they have been able to curate around their narrative. And they are very eager to share that publicly. To put that away and not be willing to share it because of a sense that as a researcher, oh, I don't know how to do that. You want to be able to have processes so that there are ways to be able to share parts of your data in ways that individuals are choosing for themselves.
This series is brought to you by Spark, a Center for Social Research Innovation.